CSL has a theme this month, Higher, Deeper Love, in case you didn't know or weren't aware of that. And we're just continuing along with CSL's annual theme of Open at the Top. All of us open at the top. So before I go too deep into this lesson today, I want to take a moment to say thank you to Debbie Edwards for standing in for me 2 weeks ago when I was unwell and could not be with you, even by Zoom. It just was not a good day, not a good week. So thank you, Deb. I appreciate you doing that. She started the month out with insights into this June topic that were amazing. If you didn't get a chance to hear her lesson, please go out. And it is also, I think it's on YouTube. If it isn't, I'll make sure that it is. So she started with, I want to know what love is. That was her first topic. And then last week she does, I was made for loving you, which I think was an awesome expression. Thank you. Great talks. So this week, as mentioned earlier, our topic is, what's love got to do with it? Okay. Now, if you're like me, when I say that phrase, you might hear the voice of the iconic Tina Turner singing, what's love got to do with it? Yeah. What's love but a secondhand emotion? What's love got to do with it? Who needs a heart when a heart can be broken? Right? I was going to play it for you, but then I thought, no, it really isn't appropriate for today. So we'll just have to boogie out for it. But keep the feeling of those words. And I'm going to put my glasses on so it's easier for me to tell you what I want to say. So, Reverend Scott Aubrey, who is a writer, a minister who's retired, but he does an online ministry called Spiritual Passages. And every week he comments on current events and holidays and what CSL is doing in the world on their particular topic. And he had a very insightful comment about Tina Turner's song. And so he wrote this, and I want to share it with you. Tina Turner's question, what's love got to do with it? Speaks from a heart that has learned to distrust love. When love has been entangled with betrayal or dependence, it can feel like a secondhand emotion. Yet spiritual love is not sentiment or weakness. It is a way of seeing, a recognition that beneath fear and separation, one sacred life expresses through us all. A heart can be broken, but it can also be open. Mm-hmm. Sometimes what breaks is not our capacity to love, but the belief that love should protect us from pain. Mm-hmm. True love does not ask us to remain where we are diminished. It calls us to honor the divine within ourselves and others. So what does love have to do with it? Everything. When love becomes the courage to remain whole, compassionate, and awake. That's Scott Aubrey. I love his writing. Very insightful. The marketing teaser for this week from CSL orients us to the perspective for today's lesson. It reads, what's love got to do with it? Love is our shared humanity, our collective trauma, our past missteps, and our way forward. Oh, that's big. So getting into the nuts and bolts of the lesson, I want to share the point of view from the author of today's lesson. Her name is April Connor. She's a religious science practitioner. And I'm going to read the reading that she chose in support of today's lesson. So I'm going to share her reading, and then I'm going to invite you to hear that larger concept of love, kind of that I was talking about. I'm going to move our attention to love on the inner landscape, and how love, that higher, deeper love, opens the door to our collective healing. Thank you very much. That helps. So, April Connor chose as her book in support of this month's lesson a work by the contemporary author Bell Hooks. She wrote All About Love. Surprise! So, the reading is this. Awakening to love can happen only as we let go of our obsession with power and dominion and domination. Culturally, all spheres of American life, politics, religion, the workplace, domestic households, intimate relations, should and could have as their foundation a love ethic. The underlying values of culture and its ethics shape and inform the way we speak and act. A love ethic presupposes that everyone has the right to be free, to live fully and well. To bring a love ethic to every dimension of our lives, our society would need to embrace change. Individuals who choose to love can and do alter our lives in ways that honor the primacy of the love ethic. We do this by choosing to work with individuals we admire and respect, by committing to giving our all to relationships, by embracing a global vision wherein we see our lives and our fate as intimately connected to those of everyone else on the planet. That's a wow statement for me. That's a higher, deeper love. When I considered this topic over the past few days, and what came to me was a realization of how narrow I, or maybe a few of us, think love is. Okay? The Google Dictionary defines love as first a noun, an intense feeling of deep affection or a great interest or pleasure in something, or as a verb, to have deep feelings for someone, or to like or enjoy something. Those are pretty succinct, aren't they? Mm-hmm. But then I went to Ernest Holmes and how he defines love. And he writes, love is the outpouring of spirit, the givingness of life. In its lesser sense, the affection one has for another. The principle of love is not to be confused with mere sentimentality, although all forms of love are aspects of it. It is the great transforming power which brings everything into harmony. It is the unifying principle, the creative element, the motivating power of all that is fine and noble in life. In metaphysical treatment, it is the healing force. Excuse me, Shelley, could you bring in Kleenex, please? That's a pretty powerful definition from Dr. Holmes. And I think it touches me spiritually when I read it. But that's only one of the two definitions that he's provided. And I'm going to read the second one to you. From the glossary of the science of mind. Love is the self-givingness of the spirit through the desire of life to express itself in terms of creation. So it touches me. Emerson tells us that love is a synonym for God. We are also told in the New Testament that he that loveth not knoweth not God, for God is love. Love is free from condemnation, even as it is free from fear. Love is a cosmic force whose sweep is irresistible. And then he adds this quote from Teilhard de Chardin. Someday, after we have mastered the winds, the waves, the tides, and gravity, We will harness for God the energies of love. And then for the second time in the history of the world, man will have discovered fire. So my personal contemplations of what Ernest Holmes wrote, when I thought about it, I came to the realization of the immense love that Spirit or God has for its creation. We collectively have been given such an amazing and generous and compassionate set of gifts. I mean, seriously. Our lives are structured such that most of us are born into family units where we are taken care of during our infancy and our childhood when we simply could not provide for ourselves well. The bodies we've been given are absolute miracles of life and science and complex biology, astounding if we think about them as vehicles provided to us to navigate the world we live in. Think about it. Think about it. How magnificent are these? And the world we live in, how stunning is this planet? You know, you have someone walk in the door who's been visiting in Switzerland and seeing blue skies and beautiful water and beautiful hillsides. And yet, when we look around this valley, we can see beautiful skies, beautiful hills, and yes. We have these amazing gifts of air, of sunlight, of water, and of earth, all that support every aspect of life unconditionally. They're there, they give, they support us. There's no if, ands, or buts. Not you, all of us. Or at least at the outset they did. Now we've kind of altered some of that. I read the words, love is the self-givingness of God. And I'm awed and overwhelmed at the physical expression of love that we collectively so often take for granted. I'm sorry, I'm just in awe this morning. It really hit me. If you're not, I'm sorry. So once I got over that initial aha of what I realized, then I had to come to the conclusion that the things, the planetary occurrences, the wars that happen, even the difficult people or heartbreaking experiences we see or observe aren't really meant to hurt us. God loves its creation. So it appears to me that I have misinterpreted the gifts that life has given me. That I have judged part of this amazing experience as bad or unwanted or unnecessary or as hurtful. I judge that. When underlying absolutely everything, all of life, every aspect of it is the absolute love of God. There's nothing else. So maybe those things that I separate myself from are gifts to me, meant to grow me, to grow us, to remind us that it's all God. It's all God in form, and that when we stop resisting them, stop calling them bad, wicked, or unnecessary to the world, and look at them, really look at them for the good they hold, for the lesson we provide. In all honesty, there's love there. The love of Spirit, the love of God. Take some shifting. April Connor, the author of this month's lesson, shared this quote from Dr. Holmes in her notes, and then provided her perspective on this topic for today. Dr. Holmes wrote, "If we would look for a God of love, we must look long and deeply into each other. We must look away from the differences until we penetrate into the unity of the whole. Love alone reveals love. Hate that hides the gleam." That's from Dr. Holmes, What Religious Science Teaches. And then April wrote this, and I share it with you verbatim because I think it really paints the picture of what we're looking at today. There's one universal mind, an all-pervading divine presence. Our collective wounds, whether historical atrocities, current injustices, or intergenerational suffering, stem from a perceived separation from this fundamental unity. When we shift our focus from what divides us and remember our inherent wholeness, we begin to dissolve the illusion of separation that fuels conflict and pain. We honor each other for who we are. Understanding each person is a unique expression of the divine. The conscious choice to honor our differences while embracing our fundamental spiritual connection is an act of radical recognition and a transformative power. It's transformative when you go there, when you don't resist it, when you allow it. It disarms hate and allows love to reveal love, becoming the active agent of change. Through this conscious shift in perception and a collective commitment to seeing the inherent divinity in all, our shared pains can be acknowledged, embraced, and ultimately transmuted into a powerful force for healing and interconnectedness, ushering in an era of global compassion. By transforming our individual consciousness through the principle of love, we contribute directly to the healing of the collective, moving towards a world where unity is not just an ideal, but a lived reality. Take a moment just to think about that. When we think of certain countries or certain governments or certain people, the mind just wants to go, get out of here, you know. That's the natural human thing, I think, for us to think. But if we're ever going to come to a place where we can all move forward together, we've got to let that barrier, that wall, that door that we slam shut, we have to allow it to open. We have to consider absolutely everything in love. Now, this is not an easy thing to do. But the reality is, if God created this universe out of its own nature, out of love, God created a whole, a unity, one. Absolutely everything that is, every person, everything, every animal, every insect, even the diseases that we see are all part of this one, this unity. And what we're entertaining here today is that every single aspect of it, if we were to stop pushing it away, declaring it as bad, judging it as not something you can have, getting rid of it, stopping it, eradicating it, doing our very best to get rid of it, if we would stop and consider it with a more open mind, maybe an open heart, consider that a loving God wouldn't give us something that would hurt us, but maybe would teach us, maybe would lead us to a new way of seeing or being or experiencing. So instead of shoving it away, maybe we could surrender the idea that there's something more here that for us to see, something here for us to experience that we haven't entertained up until now. In our humanity, we've shoved things away. We've classified people. We've created biases and beliefs. Things, I would never go there. I would never go there. I would never do that. I would never, I mean, how many of us, okay. But if we are to open our compassionate hearts and minds, maybe what we need to say is, where did that come from? And what is it calling from me? This is not easy spiritual stuff, but it is the spiritual food that grows us. This is the higher, deeper love. It's beyond anything that I think we've conceived of. But if God gave us all of this, and we're picking and choosing from the menu, I think we're cutting ourselves off from something much greater, a deeper opportunity, a deeper spiritual understanding. So, if we can take the time to expand our view of love to the higher and the deeper, the kind of love that's entertained here, that's suggested here in this lesson, if we can do that, then we can begin to allow the love of Spirit to work through us. Work through us. Honestly, we've been given free choice, and I think a lot of us choose not to go there, right? I'm not even going to entertain that. I'm not going to think about that. I'm not going to validate this behavior, this way of being, this government, this person, this whatever. But this is asking us this morning to take a more holistic view of love as it is expressed through us and in life. Much bigger, okay? So, love on the one hand includes inherited wisdom from generations before us, lots of insights, lots of strengths. It includes our resilience because we learn to deal with life. We learn to deal with things that seem to push at us or hurt us or limit us. But the holistic aspect of love also includes some of the things that that we're still hurting about, the unhealed experiences, the biases, the beliefs that exclude others in our world. And underneath all of those truths, there's a very deep longing. I don't think it's just even human. I think it's all of creation to belong, to just survive, to be, to express. Okay? Absolutely everything just wants to be and express and live. And we as humans seem to be at the top of that chain. Okay? Love's a part of all of it. Absolutely everything. Looking for connection, looking for belonging, all of it is love. So if we were to entertain this idea of the higher, deeper concept of love, that holistic love, love for all there is, then maybe we could use that understanding to heal the parts of us that don't align with that self-givingness of spirit to itself or to creation, you know. Maybe we can heal that. What is it? How can we, if it's all love, if everything is love, how can we heal that? Okay? Turning our attention inward, giving attention to the collective inner feelings of humanity, acknowledging and seeing our biases, the beliefs that divide us. If we see those as opportunities for a collective healing, perhaps we can begin to unpack them, to understand them, and to leave space for respect and for recognition and for realization that we are part of a whole. We're invited to be honest and compassionate with ourselves about the places we stand that separate and divide us. Am I the only one that's feeling that this morning? Anybody else feel that? There are places that separate and divide us. Okay. Perhaps if we recognize and we take responsibility for those beliefs that serve judgment and separation, and we work to collectively release them, then we can begin to move together, to heal together for our collective well-being. I think if you were to ask any one of us individually, do you want peace on earth? Yeah. I don't like seeing those pictures of the bombing in the Middle East or in the Ukraine and Russia. I don't like contemplating what's going on in Haiti or in Africa where people are dying, where there's genocide. And do I want world peace? Absolutely. The song says, and let it begin with me. Okay, so here's where it starts, right? So if we can move ourselves to that place of the higher, deeper love, that all-encompassing, holistic love, spirit, if we can open our hearts and our minds and step beyond the boundaries that we unconsciously created, beyond the walls that separate us, then maybe we have a chance. Maybe we can entertain something different. A world that's unified. A world where peace actually has a chance. God created everything in wholeness. And God's life is expressing in, through, and as absolutely everything. I feel bad when I do in a moth, honest to Pete. But we've had this rash of moths, and I go, I'm sorry. But, you know, and I feel bad. I don't like to step on ants or bugs or, you know, I don't, because it's all part of the web of life, right? It's all a part of the web of life. It's all a part of God. Manifest and express it. And how do I know that that little moth doesn't somewhere in it have a cure for cancer? I swear to Buddha, honest to Pete, I believe that those things are possible. So the holistic view of spirit, of love, means that absolutely everything is essential to this picture. And who am I to say it doesn't get to exist? Just not in my house. Just not in my house. I'll take you outside. Take the Webster, take those little bugs outside, okay? So, when we choose to bring love into the difficult areas of life, to use love to see the difficult people in our lives, we open doors to our collective understanding, our collective appreciation for each other and respect. Separation is divisive. Judgment is divisive. Unity and collective well-being is what love is all about. You know, there's sometimes when you want to say something to someone and just say, you know, you've just been obnoxious and I don't want to have anything to do with you. Just get the heck out of my life, right? Okay, so am I the only one that ever does that? No? Okay. But here's the reality. What if I said, okay, what if I said I'm going to deal with this situation in love? Absolute love. I set that intention and I sit with it. I've opened the door to some insight and some wisdom and to a new way of being. If I just stop and set the intention, I'm going to do something differently here, and I'm going to call love, then the possibility exists. The possibility exists, and that's so important. That's what this lesson is about, the higher, deeper love. And what's love got to do with it? Okay. Absolutely everything. Love's got absolutely everything to do with everything that we see, everything that we experience. So, takeaway today, a higher, deeper love, way bigger than any of us have imagined. We live, absolutely live, in the lap of love. This universe is incredibly generous and loving and kind and supportive. The things that we do in it is entirely a different thing, but that's the truth, okay? So, The love that we're talking about goes beyond mother love. It goes beyond father love. It goes beyond goes beyond love between partners, love of things, even love of life. It's the love of all. It's holistic. It's the love that God's Spirit is. And it's already been given to us. The capacity is there. We just put the brakes on. Okay? So, the love that God calls us to expand. It calls it. Let me read this again. The love that is God calls us to expand our vision, to take up our blinders of prejudice, of biased beliefs, of prior experiences, and to recognize that absolutely everything in this sphere of life is interdependent on everything else. We cannot force something away. We shouldn't, for our own good. And of course that includes you and me. We're interdependent on each other. So even if you take a moment to consider what that might look like in your life, that opens the door. Just entertain the idea. And if you're willing to set that intention, then I would invite you to join me, because I'm going to set a prayer of intention here to close our lesson for today. So, please join me in this now. Beloved, infinite being, God, Spirit, Presence, the good and the all good, every aspect of life, between every atom you exist. And right now, this morning, I remember and I align with that truth. That not only myself, but each one, every single aspect of creation is a magnificent expression of your nature, your creativity, your love. And so I take a moment to release any resistance, any sense of separation or division. I open my mind and my heart and set the intention to bring love into every situation, into every consideration, into every thought of others, especially those that I have purposely separated myself from, that I might grow that higher, deeper love in myself and bring it into the world through me, through my actions and my words. I set that intention. And I say thank you for opening my eyes with the realization and the recognition, for the opportunity to grow. And I bless this lesson. I bless each one here. And I give thanks for this community, this teaching, this very life. Thank you, Father, Mother, God. I just simply bless it all and release this word, knowing this intention unfolds perfectly for myself and for those who would join me. And in gratitude, I let it be. And so it is. And so it is.